Delicious.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Press X Podcast, episode 95, your weekly podcast, sort of, for gaming news and opinions coming at you each and every Monday at noon Eastern, also sort of. I'm Kevin McManus, with me, Kellen Willard.
What do you mean, sort of?
So, let me tell, I've never told this story, I don't think. My computer broke.
Yeah, I know.
Real bad.
I'm aware.
Yeah, the power supply burnt out. I don't know what that means. Something like that happened.
You told me you opened it and it smelled like smoke. That's not a good thing.
Right. So I shipped it away and still haven't gotten it back. And this is over a month ago. Like,
it's been several weeks, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I started hey, something's wrong with my power supply over a month ago. So they still haven't shipped it back. I've emailed them recently to be like, what is going on? They still haven't answered. So we'll see. They're supposed to be replacing it. They said they would. That's part of the reason why videos have been a little later than usual, et cetera, is because I'm editing on a laptop that cannot handle editing.
Doesn't like it now.
It crashes. That's part of the reason I haven't done any like fun videos with graphics and things recently. I can't do it until I get my computer up and running.
Yeah.
So that's my excuse for that. So if the show has been a little late recently, that's mostly the
Kevin's
reason.
fault.
That
Kevin's
yes.
computer's fault.
Correct. We haven't done one. You haven't been on one of these in a few weeks, huh?
No, it's been a little bit.
We've been trying to film earlier. And speaking of filming early,
Well, I've only had one day off work in the last 16 or 17 days.
that'll do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of filming early, we are filming like 4 days earlier than we normally do.
Yeah, give or take.
So if there's any news that happens, like for frame of reference, Mario isn't out, Wolfenstein isn't out. None of these are out yet.
No Assassin's
We
Creed.
have not played Hidden Agenda. None of this has happened. So what we are doing is we're going to film the show like we normally would. We got some news, and we're going to be talking about it. If any huge breaking news happens, we'll record it, and it'll kind of be inserted. So it'll be me and Craig, most likely.
Yeah.
It'll kind of be inserted, and I'm going to put in a segment of me and Craig talking about Mario kind of at the end of what we've been playing, because I think that's an important one to talk about. But other than that, the show should be fine as
Pretty
usual.
normal.
Pretty awful as usual.
Our normal standard of nothing.
I'll start out with what we've been playing, because you probably played a lot because it's been a while, right? You've been pounding down those games.
No.
All right. Well, I'll start.
I told you what I've been doing.
It's been a while since I've played something too. I just finished Danganronpa, and I haven't wanted to really dive into anything. I played a little Red Dead, and I couldn't get into it.
You love the horse,
The
though.
stupid horse is just the worst thing in the world, and I hate him. And I don't want to ride a horse everywhere, and I hate tapping a button repeatedly to do stuff. It just bothers me. So I was like, I can't do this. I did Undertale, which I'm sure you can talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But I played it for 2 or 3 hours, probably about 2 hours, and it's not catching me. I'm going to beat it, but I'm not. I thought I would really like this game, and so far it's been very like predictable comedy, and the gameplay seems like it should be something else, but for some reason it's kind of turn-based. I don't know if they explain that, but so the only game I've actually played, and we happen to just play through it again, is Clock Tower. So Clock Tower, the First Sphere, I believe, is their official like sub-line to it, was a Japanese Super Nintendo game that never actually came out here. Through the power of the Super NES Classic, you can play this game with a little, massaging of the console. So I loaded it up, and I was like, oh, I've always wanted to play this game. I'll check it out. Ended up beating it last night. Really liked it. For a Super Nintendo horror kind of point-and-click adventure game, it works really well. There's a lot of cool stuff about it. The rooms in the game are random, which is probably the most interesting part about it. There's a lot of randomness, because random brings horror. PT, part of the reason it's so scary is you literally don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if Lisa's going to be behind the corner, or if you can go freely and you won't see her the whole game. Like, you don't know what's going to happen with that game, and that's kind of what happened with this. And we went through it, and I don't know how much you enjoyed it, minus the one graphical audio...
The audio was great.
hiccup we had with the emulation.
The truck-sounding footsteps.
Yeah, her footsteps just sounded like a truck halfway through the game, and I don't know why. How'd you enjoy the game? What did you think of it?
It was cool. I mean, it was the easiest thing I've ever done because nobody ever came after me.
Yes, they're supposed to be similar to Outlast of today, or not so much PT because you're not being chased in PT.
She's just always
Amnesia, things like that. the monsters are kind of like patrolling, and if they see you, they engage you. Alien isolation. This is kind of the new horror thing that people do.
Yeah.
Even Resident Evil 7 did it to an extent. This game works that way. The character kind of patrols the house, and if they see you, your character starts panicking, and you lose kind of control of her. You won't be able to interact with objects while she's freaking out, and that's like the stress of the game. You got to go find a place to hide, calm down, and then go interact and search the house. And it's supposed to be like this cat and mouse game. You literally did not see him the whole game.
I saw him at his intro. I saw him at his outro,
and that's it. He never showed up. Like when I played through it last night, he killed me. Obviously, I was using save state, so it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But he killed me, 5, 6, 7 times. So I had that like, oh no, here he comes. A little bit of a chase scenario. You didn't get any of that, which is a little unfortunate. But you did see what happened. We went
was
through.
Scared of my footsteps.
We went through again, just for not the full game, but just a little bit, and you kind of saw what happens when he catches you because you literally didn't get the experience.
He never showed up.
But anyway, the game is super random. When you load up the game, the rooms, there's probably, I don't know, we'll say 16 rooms in the game. Yeah. They all kind of rearrange, so it's different each time. Not completely different, but mostly different each time that you play it. It's kind of like a fun board game almost that you could...
It kind of feels like a board game. Yeah, I could see that.
You could load up and be like, all right, let's see who can make it the furthest without dying.
Me?
These are the items you need. Well, yeah, that's true. These are the items that you need. Let's see who can make it the furthest in this game. So I really enjoyed it, and it probably has the best realistic graphics of a Super Nintendo game, which
realistic or...
I mean, when they
did the most with what they could.
Trying to emulate real life. Like, they have the character's face on the bottom left to show if she's panicking or not, and she has, like, facial expressions.
That did look
And
good.
when something happens, the character, like, jumps on the bottom, and her hair waves a little bit. Like,
her hair, yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. There's a lot of detail that they put into a Super Nintendo game to make it look as close to realistic.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with that. So, yeah, I beat Clock Tower. That was awesome. I'm going to go through and probably get all the endings. And then I'm gonna just play Mario whenever I get my hands on that, and I'll talk about that
Mario shows
whenever.
up.
So, what's some stuff that you've been playing?
See how hadn't talked about what's the battle royale game? I can't think of it.
Fortnite.
Yeah, I've been playing Fortnite for a little while. Haven't actually played in a week or two now, but I hadn't been on since then.
And we'll talk about Fortnite later too, because they've been adding to that game quite a lot.
Yeah, we'll save some of that. That game's a lot of fun. I don't think the battle royale actually fits what the game was made for, but they made it work pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of an odd fit, but I like it. It's fun.
What are you talking about? The
whole building mechanic.
Yeah,
it doesn't really fit the battle royale feel. Although it does sometimes add something. You build walls to get away from people every now and then.
I like it. Mainly building ramps is nice because all the golden chests and stuff are hidden on roofs and things, and you can build ramps to them.
They clearly hit them with that in mind.
Right, and then the game evolves or devolves depending on how you feel about it. The last circle, when the map is basically as small as it can be, is people using all the materials that they've had to build a tower, and then somebody walks up with a rocket launcher and kills them.
You just find the grenade launcher, you just empty it.
Yeah, from my experience playing the game, and I apparently have played 25 hours of it that I did not know. The ending, the person who builds the fort typically dies.
Oh yeah, because they're up.
They're up high, grenades. Everybody's been picking up things, so they probably have explosives.
Everybody's got green and blue.
And if the circle happens to not fall in your favor, you just die trying to get out. Yeah, it doesn't work very well.
That's fun, though. I got my copy of Undertale early because that was one of the first pre-orders, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
My collector's edition, I beat it in about 6 or 7 hours, I think. I can't remember exactly how long.
You enjoyed it?
I really liked the game. In fact, I'll probably go through it at least 2 more times.
Wow.
Because it's fairly short, and there's 3 endings I want to see. I got the regular ending, normal ending, whatever. The other 2 I want to do are apparently really hard to do, so it may be not something I do right away. The game's very cool. I love the music in that game.
I like the music, too. What I didn't like about the game from my 2 hours that I played it was... I didn't like the visuals were super simple. They were almost less than 8-bit. They were very, very simplified.
They felt almost like old school MS-DOS kind of games.
Yeah, for sure. And the comedy that they've tried so far just hasn't worked for me. It's been super predictable. when a character eludes something that'll never happen, and then it happens like 30 seconds later, I'm just like, yeah, thanks. I figured that out. Good job. So I thought the game was going to be a bit more clever than it actually is. Though the Skeleton Man isn't bad.
Skeleton Man's cool.
He's okay.
That game makes you feel like a terrible person sometimes, though, depending on how you do it.
We'll see. Like I said, I'm going to beat it. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'll talk about it.
And then I guess yesterday, Destiny 2 finally came out on PC, so I dabbled in that for about an hour or two. Hadn't had a lot of time to sit down and play it. Basically did the intro. I played up to the point where the game opens up just to get all my settings and everything running on my computer. That game is beautiful on PC. Anyway,
that's what I hear.
Because I can run it in 4K, 60 frames, so it looks really good. It runs really well. It was clearly made to be playable on PC. Like, it still uses the cursor and stuff like the first game.
I always thought that was really strange.
Like your game has a mouse cursor in it. You're not going to put it on PC. It didn't make sense to me. But
yeah,
it's whatever.
That was part of my problem with Amnesia, which was a PC game forever and came to PS4, and I like that game a lot. And I played it on PlayStation Plus, but like you can totally tell it was a PC game first.
Yeah.
Like it's basically a game where the mouse cursor is always in the center of the screen and the trigger is a click. But you can't like move the cursor around. So if you want to open a door, you have to look at the door, get it centered, hold the trigger, and then like move, and it'll open the door. Like
clearly meant as a click.
Yeah, it didn't want it. It's a little weird.
That's kind of an odd way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it works, I guess, if you're being chased because it brings that like panic of, oh my god, I gotta fuck with this door that I can't open.
This is really hard to do. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed with the PS4 version of Amnesia.
That's fine.
But anyway, anything else?
But since I had to load up Battle.net for that, so I messed with Overwatch a little bit. Just got and played it on my new computer, and that game's fun still. Well, they had PvE stuff going on for Halloween that's actually quite fun. Almost like a horde mode, which I know you don't care about. But it's quite fun still. It looks really good.
I'm sure most things look pretty good on your PC.
That's fair, yeah. Yeah, I spent all that time watching Star Wars Rebels. I'm completely caught up on that now.
I thought about watching that show like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days before you came over and were like, yeah, I'm watching Rebels. I was like, man, I was kind of thinking about doing that.
We'll do it.
Maybe.
I'm completely caught up. Like, Season 4 started 2 weeks ago, and I literally finished Season 3 the day it aired. Like, oh, that was convenient.
It's supposed to be really good.
It is really good. It gets a lot better about a season or two in. The first season's not bad. It's just a lot of building, so. But the characters are fairly cool.
Yeah, I might check it out just because of the new movie. Gives me something Star Wars-y to do.
It's clearly building up to Rogue One. Like, they're setting up Rogue
really?
One stuff, yeah. Like, Saw Gerrera's in it, the Forrest Whitaker character and all that stuff. It's cool, though.
Anything else?
No, that's about it, I think.
All right.
Nothing unusual.
That means that here will either be Super Mario and news, just Super Mario, or I didn't do that segment and we're going straight into this news.
Or Kevin forgot.
Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to talk about Mario Odyssey. As you can see, Craig is not here because he didn't quite finish the game yet, and there was a lot of stuff going on that day, so I just figured I'd hop in really quick and kind of talk to you about the game. I will say Craig thoroughly enjoyed the game. He probably liked it even more than me, so you can take everything I say and just add a little bit to it to probably get some of Craig's opinions on this game. First off, the game is actually phenomenal. It is fantastic. It is that Mario 64 feeling. It is that Mario Sunshine feeling and less of that Galaxy feeling that I was talking about in previous episodes of the podcast. The game definitely feels like it is from that genre of Mario, and that is definitely a fantastic thing, and that is definitely a compliment to the game. There's little things here and there that just sort of remind you of those old games, and it's very welcome. As far as the gimmick of the game, the cap mechanic, throwing your hat, it works out really well. There's so many things that you get to possess throughout this story, and the same idea is rarely used more than once, which is really cool. Sometimes there'll be this little thing that you do, and you're like, oh, that was really neat, and then it'll never come up again in the game. Like, they just had so many ideas to use Cappy and this mechanic, and they still feel fresh from start to finish because you're always taking control of these new things, from a frog to a bullet bill to something that has very limited movement but very interesting movement, and you're going to need to be able to use that to maneuver through levels and boss fights and things like that. And you're like, oh, okay, that was cool, and then they give you something completely different that controls completely different. There's only one particular thing that I possessed I keep saying possessed, I don't know if captured, that's the word that they use. There's only one thing that I captured the entire game that I was not a fan of controlling at all, and that is my biggest negative to the game, is that one little thing, that one little creature that you can capture was not as fun as all these other ones that you got to. The game is full of secrets. It's super non-linear in my favorite way possible, where it's going to be so fun to watch speedruns of this game. You need X amount of moons to get to the next world, basically. There's no hub world, which still frustrates me, but it's okay. They have kind of mini hub worlds in some of the worlds, so it works out. But you basically need X amount of moons to get to the next world, and then you land on that world, and they tell you need X amount of moons to get to the next world, and that's how it works. And they each have their own little story, but you don't actually need to do the story to progress, so you can just get the moons as fast as possible. And that's why I'm talking about the speedruns are going to be really interesting, because they're going to need to find, out of these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of moons in the game, what ones are the quickest to get, and optimize those runs. So that's going to be really fun to watch. Controlling Mario, I think, it is still similar, a little less so, but it is still similar to how I felt with my preview of the game, which is he has a lot of moves, and some of them seem a little irrelevant. Even the wall jump, which is a staple at this point, but it feels a little forced. There's not that many places that you can use the wall jump. The backflip's always good because it's like a high jump, and the long jump is amazing. But there's just a couple moves that you have that I feel like aren't super necessary. And once in a while, you end up doing a weird cartwheel pop thing that I've done 5 times, and I have no clue how to do it, where it's not the normal cartwheel where you cut the stick the other way and jump, but there's one where you crouch jump, and it's not quite a backflip, but it's sort of like a cartwheel. I don't know how to do that one on command. There was another move that I literally didn't learn until I beat the game, where you can actually throw your hat and do a dive jump onto it and launch yourself. I didn't know about that. There's just a lot of moves in this game, and because of that, sometimes you mean to grab a ledge and you end up wall jumping off of it, or you mean to wall jump and you end up grabbing the ledge, and then maybe you're in a time section and it screws up your run. So the control of the game, I feel like there's too many options, and they could have cut 1 or 2 of these out, changed a little bit of the level design, and fixed that. Now, it's weird that I sound not negative on the game, but I'm bringing up a lot of negatives for the game, because these are my only negatives for the game. Other than all of this, the game is a Mario game, and it is fantastic. I like all the worlds that you go to. There's 1 or 2 that feel a little small and a little shoehorny, but there's so many of them that I can't even complain about that, because they're more for story purposes than to be a world to explore. And even some of those story purposes worlds are really good, and you go back to them and you're like, there's so much to do. This game is kind of it has some emotional moments for a Mario game, which I think is really interesting and fun to say. And how good of a Mario game is this? Obviously, most Mario games are very good, just video games in general. But how does this compare to other Mario games? I'm going to say is really high up there. I think it's the best Mario game. As somebody who doesn't like 3D World, not huge on 3D Land, doesn't like the Wii U ones, doesn't like the Wii ones that much. I think this is my favorite Mario since Sunshine, which is saying a lot. I don't think it's better than 3, and I don't think it's better than 64, but it's probably my favorite since Sunshine. So that's a pretty high compliment for this game. So yeah, if you have a Switch, you probably already have it, or you're anticipating getting it soon, and that's awesome, and you should be totally happy with that. It's totally worth it. It took me, I don't like to say times for people that don't want to know that kind of stuff, but it didn't take me very long to finish the campaign. And then after you finish that, I've spent quadruple that amount of time just finding moons throughout the worlds. They add more and more and more stuff to do, but it's not overwhelming. It's not like you go to a world and you're like, there's so much stuff. I don't want to do anything because there's too much to do. They have little breadcrumb trails to do different things, and you're like, oh, okay, this is okay. And then later they're like, here's some more stuff to do, and then later they're like, here's some more stuff to do. So they start adding on things to do, so that you're not super overwhelmed as soon as you get to a world, and you're not like, this is way too big to explore. And so it's the best of everything. You can go linear, and you can collect the moons that they kind of put you on the path to, and you can take your ship to the next thing, and you can beat it like that. You can go crazy and try to do all the flips and get all the hards, like do things out of order and have fun and do it like that. It is everything that you could do in Mario 64 is here. So I love that. It makes me smile. It's a great looking game. I will say playing it in handheld is not great. Mario is really teeny. It's totally serviceable because the penalty for death isn't that bad. When you lose in this game, there's no lives or anything. There's a checkpoint system and basically like a respawn system if you're in like the little mini dungeons and stuff. So if you die, it's kind of like whatever. But the game is definitely harder to play in handheld mode than on your TV because just the size of Mario in relation to the world he's very teeny compared to everything else. So, but anyway, yeah, this game is phenomenal. Is this going to be talked about for Game of the Year stuff when we get to the end of the year? Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that at least a few of us will bring up this game for sure. The debate is going to be interesting between those of us who really liked Mario and really like Zelda to see which one of those we liked more. Maybe not even overall for Game of the Year, but just in general. Overall, yeah, phenomenal game. Go check it out. Is it worth buying a Switch for? If you have the money to buy the Switch and you've just been kind of waiting for enough stuff, this is it. Go buy your Switch. Go get your Mario, get your Zelda, get your Splatoon. You're good. Like I really think that the Switch has justified itself as a gaming console, and now I think it needs to justify itself a little bit as a media, like as a tablet. That's what I want it to do next. Give us the YouTubes, give us the Netflix, etc., etc. But all in good time, Nintendo. You're having a great first year, a phenomenal first year, some would say. Mario Odyssey being the highest reviewed game of the year, Zelda being the second highest reviewed game. That's a pretty good track record. So, yeah, Mario Odyssey, definitely fantastic. Go check it out. Let's do what Wendy's been playing, which is something that I meant to do, and I skipped over it. Let's go back and talk about that really quick.
Okay.
She's going through Zelda. I like just giving little updates. She found 2 of the Korok seeds. Now, do you know what a Korok seed is?
I remember hearing people talk about finding the seeds. I don't know what they do though.
So you can find these Korok seeds, and they're basically super mini puzzles. Like, move this here, bring this here. Very small things that you find in nature because they're nature-based.
Yeah.
The map is huge.
Yeah, the map's gigantic.
She's found 2 of them.
How many are there?
I beat the game. I found 13. There's 900.
Oh, that's right. That's some huge number.
Yeah. So she's chugging along. She's doing that. She's just doing her shrines. I told her where to find armor because she's still rocking the starting armor, and I'm like, you should probably go to the store and buy armor. And she's like, does that mess anything up? I'm like, kind of, but just do it anyway.
Just do it.
If you die, you just respawn. That's the best part of the Zelda game. You die, you just respawn right where you died, and you go. It's like, okay, I can just keep moving on. But yeah, she's doing that, and then I think she's going to attempt probably the water dungeon first, and I'm very excited for that. But she's slowly moving on. Okay, kind of a bunch. As I wanted to try picking and grabbing a bunch of news stories and kind of going
kind of all over the place,
a little more rapid fire, and just kind of see how it goes. So let's start off with the GameCube controller. It's something people really like. One of my favorite controllers of all time.
It's no N64 controller, but it's pretty good.
God, the N64 controller is horrible. The Super Nintendo controller, fantastic.
It's a great controller.
Really like it.
Yeah.
Playing on the Classic, I have Super Nintendo stuff, but not many. Like I don't really play it that much. So using this controller, kind of quote unquote, for the first time with these games, awesome. Really like it.
Yeah, it's a good controller.
But anyway, it works with the Switch now. Basically, firmware 4.0 came out last week, I believe, and you can plug it in, and it kind of reads it as a USB Pro controller type situation. It's a little awkward because it only has a Z button. It doesn't have like another left.
I didn't have ZLZR.
Yeah, trigger. So you're going to be missing a button. But this signifies to me one of two things. Smash is
on
coming.
the way. Yeah.
Or Virtual Console's coming. And
that would make
might
sense.
have GameCube games on it. And
That
allow
would be
you to
awesome.
play them with the GameCube controller.
I would buy a lot of digital Switch things if they added Virtual Console.
Now, what about this? What if they did this and then they started releasing N64 controllers and like the old controllers, but their ports are the GameCube
But they work with the
ports, and you could use any controller.
Then I'd be buying an N64 controller.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet. I'd like that a whole lot.
And growing a third arm to be able to use it.
I would enjoy that quite a bit. But yeah, this is just a small bit of news. Like I said, it's not perfect. You can use it for games. You're going to be missing a trigger. I'm sure there's some games that are better or worse for it. You can look that up or just try it yourself.
You may not need it for some stuff. Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure like some of the indie games that probably don't use all the buttons or something might be okay. But this is clearly building up to something.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Also, you can use USB Bluetooth headsets. So the Switch has Bluetooth because you can use a controller that is a Bluetooth controller with it, the Switch controllers, the Pro controllers. But you cannot sync Bluetooth headsets to it for whatever reason. But with this recent update, you can plug in the USB dongle of like the PlayStation 4 Gold headset, and you can use a headset with the Switch Bluetooth via USB.
If you use the USB. That's weird.
Yeah.
As long as it works, who cares?
I care. That's a pain in the butt.
It is.
But that's a thing that you can do. It's not like you have voice chat, though, so who cares?
You got to use your phone, so.
Christ
Best idea.
Next Machina is coming to limited run games on November 10th, and they are doing a PlayStation Experience exclusive variant. Last year they did Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. They had an exclusive variant that was kind of cool. This year, this is going to be the game. I don't think there's any word on if they're going to be releasing that all at once or what, because PSX isn't until December 4th or 6th or something.
Yeah, it's still a ways away.
So I imagine they're just going to hold them back and only release them there and then maybe put those other ones up. I'm not entirely sure. This game has an 88 on Metacritic, and it actually was a very talked-about game this year. The problem is there are so many very talked-about games this year.
It's been a busy year. Yeah.
Even great games have got drowned out. Like an 88 is a very high Metacritic. And like I heard about it from like the PlayStation fans, but that was kind of it. So this is the Resogun team, Matterfall team, Alien Nation, Dead Nation. They do those kind of shoot 'em up twin stick shooter games, I guess is the best way to put it. And this is supposed to be one of the best ones that they've done.
Cool.
I was interested in it, didn't get a chance to pick it up. I'll just buy this. Makes it a lot easier. So that's cool.
Easy enough.
Dead by Daylight. Now, this is a game that I just started reading about, and that's kind of the reason I wanted to put it on here. Do you know anything about this game?
Not really. I've heard the name bounced around a couple times. I've never looked into it.
So it came out maybe a week before or after Friday the 13th, at least on PlayStation 4 and Xbox and stuff. And it's like the same general idea. There's these counselor-y people. They're trying to fix generators and escape. And then there's a killer, and the killer plays in first person instead of third person. But their big thing was they got Michael Myers in the game, and they have a lot more maps and things like that. But they've added Leatherface, and they just did a teaser video for Freddy Krueger, so they're adding Freddy Krueger. So it seems like they're going to try to get the roster minus Jason, because I doubt they're going to get
he has his own game,
Jason.
So.
The consensus that I see is that Friday the 13th is such a love letter to the Friday the 13th people. Like, everything is so well recreated, and even though it's janky, Friday the 13th is kind of, like, the movies are kind of janky, so
yeah, it kind of fits.
It works. Like, it's just fun to be in that atmosphere. And this one is much less like that, as far as I understand. I've watched people play it, and I've been like, watching them. It never really excited me. But it does a lot of the same things in mini games with the generators, where you need to hit the button as it spins and hits the little bar that you have to hit, and certain characters have better repair stats and stuff. But it seems like, and I'm not sure because this is kind of ignorant, but I know at least one of the killers needs to like grab the people and bring them to, when he knocks them out, they like pick them up and carry them to like their home base or whatever to kill them.
Oh yeah.
And then the other people can free that person by like attacking the killer, and he'll drop the body and they can heal him back up and get away. And I don't know, it seems interesting. They definitely have my interest now that they have a decent amount of
a
killers.
Pretty good roster of known names.
Their player numbers are going up. I know that. And Fridays are, of course, going down. Yeah. But Fridays kind of started. Friday had a much bigger impact than.
It was much bigger on those.
Dead of Daylight, or Dead by Daylight. So I don't know. It's interesting. I might check it out. I might try to grab it. I know it's got a physical release, which doesn't mean much because they add so much stuff. But maybe I can find that discounted or used or something, and see if I like it. I feel like I'm not going to. But I have to at least get some enjoyment out of a game that has all these horror mascots, because that's something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a fighting game that's just all the horror characters. I think that's such a cool idea, and you could even do the heroes of the series as characters too. This might be the closest I get to that. So
this might be your best bet.
Yep. Fortnite. Let's just throw down some stuff. Not too much to talk about because they're constantly changing. The game is in early access, so it's not even really out. So none of this really means anything.
But it's free to play, so it's hard to complain about early access.
Right, and I play the game, so I can at least speak on it.
Yeah.
So Fortnite has added, in the past few weeks, they added leaderboards to show that you've played the game for 25 hours, even though you didn't really
show you.
Yeah. Shows how many wins you have, your stats, things like that. They added a skin system that's supposed to come out, I believe, tomorrow. It's launching, so you can buy. Finally, they have a way to actually make money. You can buy Halloween skins, is what they're seemingly starting with. Friday the 13th also has Halloween costumes for the characters, but anyway.
Yeah, that's what Overwatch was doing, was Halloween stuff.
And makes sense. So yeah, they're adding a skin system, which I imagine will let you pick what character you want to play as, which is one of my complaints.
They hadn't added that yet.
Yeah, that's one of my complaints about Fortnite is it doesn't matter. Like they're the same.
It's not really a big deal.
But I like playing. There's 2 or 3 characters I like more than the others, and I'd like to play as them. They have new items, such as they added a new food item, I believe, that heals you for 1 shield and 1 health every second. Okay. So it's kind of like a potion or something that you drink that heals you up. They've rebalanced some of the weapons, which I didn't like, and then they seem to have fixed that in the past couple patches. They're just adding things to the game. I talked about the airdrops and everything. Yep. They've added instant pickup of ammo, instant pickup of resources, which was not a problem, but it was a little annoying in the game.
It was kind of clunky because all the stuff would fall together and it would be hard to pick out what you wanted.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want this gun, but I want the ammo for the gun, and you're like, crap, I picked up the gun, and then you picked up the other gun,
and that I also want.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an issue. So now that stuff picks up automatically, so that should clear a bunch of the cluster, which is nice. So just some quality of life things that you can spectate stuff when your teammate dies, or when you die and you're spectating a teammate. If you have a team of 3 people still alive, you can cycle between the team members now. It used to just randomly give you one, and you were locked on.
Picks one, yeah.
You were locked on that character to watch. So different things like that. That's all cool. It's all fine. That's all dandy. I like that game. I'm gonna be continuing to play it, and I might buy a skin or 2 if they're cool, just to give the game some money because I've had fun with it.
Just to support it, yeah.
If they're like $2 skins or something, I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? Next up, Sunset Overdrive 2. This is a game that I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first one.
I would probably buy it if it actually came out.
Yeah, that's the problem. So Insomniac said that they're just waiting for a publisher, which I think is kind of a jab out there that, hey, if anybody wants to pick up Sunset Overdrive...
Everybody wants this game we've been working on.
So for people who may not be in the know, because it was near a launch title, Sunset Overdrive it was an Xbox One game published by Microsoft. So Microsoft paid Insomniac for this game.
Yeah.
Insomniac made Ratchet and Clank and Resistance. They're like a very PlayStation-heavy company. Like Ratchet and Clank's a big IP for PlayStation. In fact, they had a game come out on PlayStation, and now they're doing Spider-Man, which is a PlayStation exclusive.
Yep.
So the Sunset thing was weird because they strayed away from their fan base because they wanted to be able to make Sunset 2. That was literally it. Sony's IPs are all owned by Sony. So Ratchet and Clank is Sony's. Even though they made the games, Ratchet and Clank is Sony's. All their games are actually Sony's properties, but they wanted Sunset for themselves, and Sony said, if we publish this, Sunset's ours. We can make our own Sunset with a different studio. You're not involved, whatever. And they were like, no. And then Microsoft's like, well, we'll do it, and you can keep the IP. And apparently that didn't work very well because the game didn't sell very well. I don't remember it even charting the month it came out.
I don't remember hearing much about it at all, other than from you. So
yeah, and it was I bought the bundle, the Sunset bundle. That was when I got my Xbox One. It just doesn't seem like new IPs do well on Xbox. Like when you think about PlayStation, some indies are doing okay, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
But when you think about like PlayStation, you think like, okay, The Last of Us was a brand new IP that was huge. Like that was a big thing. Bloodborne was a new IP that was huge. Horizon's
doing pretty
big,
well.
Yeah, a big IP that's brand new. Like they're willing to do that, and like Microsoft's tried this gen, and I give them that. It's just not working.
Yeah.
Like they put out games and it's not working. And then they're like, well, we have a Gears and we have a Halo and we have a Forza. And then they get made fun of for only having Gears, Halo, and Forza. But their fan base doesn't buy these games.
Cuphead's done fairly well.
So there is exceptions. Inside.
Not many, though, but yeah.
Inside did really well, which was a timed exclusive.
Yeah.
Cuphead's going to be exclusive forever, it seems. And it did much better than I thought it would, actually.
It's done pretty
I'm
well.
very surprised. So there's definitely exceptions, but for the most part, like, what's the big new IP that Microsoft's had this gen?
Forza 7.
Okay. Forza Horizon. Like, I don't know. Those were on the 360, the Horizon variants.
Yeah, Horizon was Horizon 3. It wasn't even the second one. It was, there's been 2 before it. I don't know what new they've really done this gen.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's something that like I'm not thinking of, but I'm going through their studios. Like they have Sea of Thieves coming out. We'll see
Maybe
how that does. They canceled Scalebound,
which is terrible.
Which is the huge one. I feel like
that was a big loss for them.
That was the big one. They canceled their Fable game.
They shut down Lionhead.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing.
So anyway, Sunset Insomniac just wants a publisher. I think they probably would want Sony to pick it up, but Sony might not want it.
We don't want that now.
Yeah, because they're not going to get the first one.
No, they'll never see the first one. So.
I don't think they care. And they have Spider-Man. They're going to make $1 million. They're going to make millions of dollars.
They're going to make more than one.
Next up, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Let's talk about that. Nick was super thrilled with this news. So there's a deluxe edition of the game that comes with Goku, who has blue hair for whatever freaking reason.
Don't worry about it.
I literally won't. Doesn't come with the season pass. Nick was real upset about this.
I'm not sure why.
I don't know why
they
either.
usually don't, but maybe he didn't know that.
They do sometimes. Like Uncharted's $80 one didn't, but the $120 did, and then they ended up not having a season pass. Yeah, so that's a bad example.
I forgot that they just didn't do it.
Yeah, well, they were like, instead we're going to make a $40 standalone game, and you just get it for free. And I was like, cool. Okay.
Works.
So, yeah, there's definitely ones that do. I know Call of Duty puts its season pass in its thing.
Yeah, but sometimes theirs are like $200.
Yeah, they get really expensive, and that's my point. I rarely see a just collector's edition have the season pass. On top of that, there's a lot of collector's editions that don't have the game anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they just come without the game, and I actually understand that. It's so that they don't need to make a PlayStation 4 Collector's Edition, an Xbox One Collector's Edition, a PC Collector's Edition. They are allowed to just make the Collector's Edition. You buy the game, you buy the Collector's Edition, and you have it.
Yeah.
But it makes it feel so bad.
It doesn't feel good when you do that, yeah.
And I've never done that, and I don't think I ever would.
I haven't either. I think the last collector's edition I got was Undertale, and it came with a hard copy of the game.
Yeah, I know Mass Effect had one that didn't have the disc.
Yeah, I didn't spend any extra money on that game. I'm pretty glad I didn't. So.
I know Mass Effect had one. Maybe Deus Ex had one. I don't know. I can't remember. But there was quite a few games for a little while that just didn't come with the game. So I don't think it not coming with the season pass is that big of a surprise. And then there's weird ones like Resident Evil 7 had a normal edition. It also had a deluxe edition that came with a season pass that didn't include all the DLC. And now there's more DLC for it that wasn't included in the season pass, so you have to buy it anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Or there's a gold edition that has all of it.
For $60.
So I'm so glad I didn't buy the deluxe edition because I'm just going to buy the gold edition. So whatever. But the season pass is $35. It's going to be 8 characters. The game is launching on January 26th. And if you pre-order it, you get into the beta. Any of the 8 characters that you can guess?
Of the 8?
Yeah, the 8 characters for the season pass.
Oh, I don't. I hadn't.
Do you
seen
know
a
who
full
they would
roster
add? Yeah,
yet.
I haven't either.
They just revealed 2 more characters like last week, so I don't know if they've even shown their full roster yet.
I'm not sure either. I know people were complaining that it seemed light, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the world of DBZ is big, but
Especially
it's
if they're
also
going
DBZ.
Super and everything. Yeah.
Like, it's not the original Dragon Ball, so you gotta I imagine take all those out. And it doesn't say
To a point.
Super, but Z is at least
That's
in
when he
that
does
title.
the blue hair, though. So
Oh, okay, then maybe that is in there.
I'm not really sure what they're doing, but they did include the Z, which is really odd. To me.
They have Boo? Do they have Kid Boo?
I don't think they've shown him. Well, the two
Not
they
getting
just,
this game.
The two they just showed are both Z characters, Nappa and
Oh.
oh my god, I forgot his name. Ginyu, Captain Ginyu.
Mm-hmm.
That's the two they just showed.
So I don't know who they'll be. I don't think it's completely outrageous. I think
it's a little expensive. $35 is kind of high, but
yeah, I don't know. When you think about characters for fighting games, they're usually $5 a character.
okay, fair.
Like they're typically $5 a character. If you think of like, I don't know, maybe Injustice, they do like 3-packs instead of doing individual ones, but Smash for $5 a character.
Yeah,
you know. So I think that's fair. And there are even more if you wanted it for 3DS and for the Wii U. But interested in this game. It looks beautiful.
It looks really
definitely
good.
going to be playing it. I'm excited for it, even though I don't really care that much about Dragon Ball Z. I know the lore, and I've seen I haven't like watched it completely through.
Yeah.
I've seen dozens and dozens of episodes of the show. I'm not attached to it emotionally in any way. But there's characters that I like. I like Frieza. I like Cell.
Frieza's cool.
I like Boo, but only the kid form.
Which Boo? Kid Boo? Kid Boo's cool.
Yeah, I only like the kid
what about
form.
Super
of Boo.
Boo? Who always has his head cocked sideways.
No,
That's just how he talks.
I like Vegeta.
Everybody likes Vegeta. Yeah.
The only difference that I have is I don't like Piccolo at all, and people love Piccolo, and I never understood that.
He's okay. I don't think he's as great as people make him out to be. It's whatever. He's a better father than Goku to Goku's own kids, which is kind of funny, but
Well, he's dead half the time.
which one?
All right. Next up, in news nobody cares about, Metal Gear Survive is coming February 20th, 2018. Don't buy this game. Like,
What's the point?
if you were upset about the whole Kojima thing, this is your chance to tell them that you were upset. You haven't really had that. They did like the Bomberman thing, which is people were excited for a launch game for the Switch.
Yeah.
They've put their games onto the classic systems, which is nice.
Yeah.
They did the Netflix series with Castlevania, which wasn't terrible. This is the first Kojima... I guess they're doing Zone of the Enders, too.
I forgot that even existed, the Netflix show.
Yeah. They're doing the Zone of the Enders VR thing, I guess, so that's a little weird. But this is directly the thing that he was, like, fired from. Like, this is it. So if you were mad about the whole Kojima situation, do not buy this game. That is the easiest way to show them that, Kojima is Metal Gear, and that... I'm not buying it without Kojima. So I'm probably not even going to bring this up on the show anymore, unless it's negative.
Kojima and you gain zombies.
So probably the last time I talk about this, unless there's negative news coming out about it, like sales figures. Though I think the game will do
sold 4 copies.
just fine because it says Metal Gear, and the average person doesn't know what a Kojima is. So next up, in news you do care about.
Do I? Oh,
The Super NES model of the 3DS, the new 3DS XL,
3DS XL.
comes with Super Mario Kart, $200. Is it Amazon exclusive?
It is.
Amazon exclusive. This was like a random tidbit of news that just popped up.
It popped up like a couple of days ago, and I was like, "Oh, I've wanted a new 3DS." So
I posted it in our chat, and you were like, "Yeah, I pre-ordered it." Oh,
cool. I was like, "I've been wanting a new 3DS. I kind of wanted like a special one." I was like, "Oh, that's the coolest one I've seen."
It is really cool. I have the Majora's Mask one only because I like Majora's Mask aesthetics.
Yeah.
I don't like the game very much, but I knew that one would be rare, so that's part of the reason I got it.
Yeah.
But this one's sweet.
Yeah, it's cool.
I really like this one.
Yeah, the outside looks cool. It looks like the system, and you open it, and it's still gray and has the gray and purple buttons. Like it's very neat.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe you can bring it on the show once you get it.
Deal.
I think it comes out November 11th.
It's later this year sometime.
It's November something.
Yeah, it's late November, I think.
And last I checked, they were still available, so it's not like a Nintendo. Oh my god, you can't get anything Nintendo problem.
Yeah.
You can check that and just
I'm
fill me in whenever. Next up, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is coming November 2017, or out now if you're in Australia, apparently, and some people are upset about that because that wasn't announced, and they think that...
November 27th.
Okay, so it's later than I thought. Some people thought that maybe this was an accident and we still don't know. And then there's APK mirrors that you can get and put the game out there, and now it's kind of out there because they may have messed up. I don't know. But Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is basically mini Animal Crossing in almost every way. The main focus of it is crafting furniture for your RV, and then you can buy RVs with 2 floors and build more, and it's basically literally mobile Animal Crossing. You have you can have a friends list on the game and trade items with your friends. I assume it'll be like real Animal Crossing where everybody's town is different. So like I might have apples in my town and you might have bananas in your town or oranges or whatever. And if I trade, I can plant an apple tree in my town. You can plant an apple tree in your town. And I can plant an orange tree in my town. So like I imagine that's going to be in it. Animal Crossing is a game like The Sims that just never ends.
With never ending.
So it makes sense for a mobile, and it kind of hurts me because I want the Switch Animal Crossing really bad.
It fits mobile really well, though.
Yeah, you know what else is mobile? My Switch. And I would much rather
I bet your phone has a better battery, though.
That's also true.
And it fits in your pocket easy. Like, I don't know, it fits
I would not
really
put the Switch in my pocket at all. I would scratch the screen so bad.
No, it's a terrible idea.
But yeah, like as an Animal Crossing fan, not super fan, but fan, I wasn't super excited about this. I did already have my niece message. She loves Animal Crossing. She messaged me and she's like, "We're gonna play it, right?" And I was like, "Well, it's free, so I'll play it and check it out."
Try it, yeah.
But they said that you'll be able to meet up with other players from your friends list, trade items. The game features a free-to-play model and staples of it, such as countdown timers and microtransactions. So you're only going to be able to do certain things, for X amount of time, and then you're going to be locked out of it, I guess, unless you pay for another ticket to enter the place again or whatever.
Everybody loves microtransactions.
God, they're so great, and there's no controversy over them at all. So I'm so glad another game with microtransactions. I mean, a free-to-play game with it doesn't bother me that much. Different. But anyway, I'll check it out. Launches in November here, Australia now, I guess. So
if you're lucky,
yeah, I'll check it out and report back. But it just seems like mini Animal Crossing, which I think is going to be weird to control on the phone. I don't know. Hard to judge without playing it. I don't like mobile games very much. Pokemon Go is the only one I like, and it's a little different because it's more of a companion game.
Collection stuff, yeah.
It's more of a companion game than it is a game. So
yeah.
It's more like your Tamagotchi, you know what I mean? You're walking it, you're feeding it.
Except they're Pokemon,
You're cleaning it up.
You clean it up.
Yeah, they poop and you got to clean them.
The Pokemon do?
No, the Tamagotchis.
Okay.
Anyway. Xbox original games have been announced for backwards compatible. This list leaked like the day after we filmed last week, and I was like, crap, and then it got officially announced, so that works out.
Yeah, that works a little better.
So here are the games. We have Blood Rain 2, Black, Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, Dead to Rights, Ninja Gaiden Black, which people are freaking out about, Fusion Frenzy, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, The King of Fighters, Neo Wave, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Psychonauts, Red Faction 2, Sid Meier's Pirates, ! And Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
Cool.
These games feature enhanced graphics. I would say they look about as good as the PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 4 enhancements that they did with their emulating system.
That's about right, yeah.
I will say, though, Fusion Frenzy looks really good. Like 10 times better than all the other games.
Oh, does it?
I don't know what they did with Fusion Frenzy, but it looks way better.
That's a cool game, too.
It is, and I don't own it, unfortunately. It's fairly expensive for what it is.
Yeah, because it wasn't the easiest thing to get.
And now I'm sure it's going to be even harder to get.
Oh, yeah.
But I like Fusion Frenzy a lot, too.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
I'm interested in a few things. I guess this is just emulating the game, so it wouldn't have all the fun stuff, I imagine. Like, for instance, if they had a demo of another game on the... You know what I mean?
That's how I found out about Fusion Frenzy. It was a demo on
That's
Halo
why I brought it
Combat
up.
Evolve, yeah.
Yeah, like, that would be interesting if it was, like, actually just the disc.
They just literally went and
you could play the old demos, but I doubt it'll be any of that. It'll probably just hop right into the game. I might use this feature just because it's one less thing that I have to plug in, which is nice. Like, I'm gonna play through Condemn soon, and I don't need to plug in my 360, which is nice. Yeah. I can just play it on my Xbox One with a better controller and everything. But the fact that the only thing that's fixed about it is the graphics is a little to me. Like the PlayStation 4, I like because they added trophies, and I still don't know how they did that.
Yeah, they added full trophies.
They added full trophies on emulated games, and
which is impressive. I'm not sure how they did it.
I don't know how they did that at all because they didn't modify the original game. Basically, as far as I know, it just reads if like it kind of is like a screen capture device, and it figures out if you did everything and then gives you a trophy. I don't know how that worked. And what I need out of this is either give me like the SNES Classic, give me emulations. It's emulating, so give me save states.
Save states.
Let me do save states. Fairly easy. Give me a rewind feature. Like, why not? You can just give every game a rewind, give every game save states. Maybe let me mess with graphics like old and new, like have a little toggle.
Like the Halo collection has.
Yeah, like give us these fun things if it's just an emulation of the game. And the best thing that could happen is an online play that simulates like a LAN party, which would be awesome if they were able to do that.
Some of those games had online, like Crimson
Skies is a big one.
Had great online.
Yeah, so that would be really cool if they were able to somehow work in that. I know that LAN parties will work with the Xbox One, so you can actually like set it up, but it would be cool if they were able to emulate that through the internet. I know nothing about that. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if that's even possible.
There were people that used to do that with the original Xbox before Xbox Live was a thing, so it is possible.
Yeah, I played Halo online, the original Halo.
Yeah, because it didn't have Xbox Live.
Right. Yeah, so... I hope that they do stuff like that. But this is a good beginning.
Yeah,
solid start.
Good start. Some good games on there too. So
for sure. I mean, some great game. Like Black is at least good.
Black's very good.
Crimson Skies is people love that game, though they like it for the multiplayer.
It's a blast multiplayer. I don't even remember the single player. But
Ninja Gaiden Black is one of the best Ninja Gaiden games.
I remember that game was huge when it came out.
Fusion Frenzy is okay, but it has a cult following.
It's
for whatever
I'll
reason.
Give it fun. That's about it.
Similar with Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is actually a phenomenal game.
It's very good. Yeah,
it's really good. Psychonauts is good, and obviously KOTOR.
This is the best game of all time.
Sid Meier's Pirates, both good. Let's move into some questions.
Oh God.
Let's start off with what games do we still need to finish to be considered for a Game of the Year, backlog and or future releases? So games that either came out this year that we didn't get to and we think they have a possibility of being Game of the Year material, so we should probably play them when we talk about our Game of the Years, or something that's coming out in the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks of releases that also may fit that category. We can just go back and forth and name games. Okay. Because I have a handful.
Yeah, there's a couple. I know one I asked you about, and I forgot you'd given it away. It was Zelda. I hadn't played Zelda yet this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a big Zelda fan, but this one looks different enough. I'd probably like it.
Oh, it's different.
And I probably should be in the consideration for Game of the Year, just from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, that's it. I agree completely. That game, I said it downstairs, but I don't like open world games. I like Zelda games, but I buy every Zelda game as it comes out, and I end up liking about 50% of them. My favorite one is still Link to the Past, but I loved this game. And that's saying something because I hate open world games, and I'm not a giant fan of Zelda.
I thought they were your favorite.
No. So, yeah, that's saying something. But, I got rid of my copy of the game because Wendy's playing it.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I knew you did that. You told me, and I just forgot about it.
So let's hop back to the games that we were talking about.
What were we talking about, Zelda?
Yeah. You want to play Zelda.
So I need to play that before the year ends.
Yeah, probably. I want to say play it on Switch if you can. If like Craig or somebody will let you play it on Switch. But obviously Nick will give it to you for Wii U.
Yeah, he's not gonna play it again this year.
He doesn't care. Not saying he's biased towards or against Nintendo games, but I'm not here to dispute.
But he's
that.
biased. Okay.
For me, a big one that I have not got to is Hellblade. I really want to play Hellblade, Heavenly Sword team.
Yeah.
It is a way less action-based game and way more psychological kind of walking simulator game that has action pieces in it. Whether that hurts or helps the game. A lot of people that I follow really liked that game, and I know that I would like it. So I'm hoping, I still don't own it yet, so I'm hoping maybe it gets a discount or something, and I can just hop right in and be like, woohoo. But if it doesn't by like December, I'll just buy it and play through it. It's only a couple hours. I think it's like 6 or 7 hours long. Deals with her schizophrenia. There's a lot like voices in her head. Some are telling her truth, some are telling her false There's like Norse mythology mixed into this whole thing, and
always a good thing.
I'm excited to check it out. So
yeah,
I think I'll like it. I don't know if I'll love it.
Sounds cool.
But yeah, I definitely want to check it out. What else you got?
I guess my next big one would be Nier, because I still haven't touched this game. I'm still,
oh boy.
I'm still bitter at them for they have yet to patch the PC version of the game in any way, shape, or form.
What did I see about the PC version in Nier recently?
Last I looked, it was the only way to even like know that you can run the game is to download a mod from the community, and you've got to download a couple pieces, and it doesn't always work. Like they haven't supported the game. No. I'm not going to give them any money, but I'll borrow it. Like,
yeah, just borrow it from Nick. Or Craig. He's never going to go back. Did you hear his story about the game?
I heard a little bit of it. I didn't know.
So there's a demo for the game.
Yeah.
He quit before the demo section ended because the demo is the opening of the game.
Why?
The demo is kind of a little rough, like punishment-wise. If you die, you start over in the demo. And he died.
Oh, he didn't want to start over?
And he was like, I'm done. He didn't say that, but I think that's what happened.
Fair enough.
As somebody who watched him play the original Silent Hill last week, and he had to backtrack to the first floor, and he was on the third floor, and I could tell he was just ready to quit, and I just took the controller and did it. Yes, I'm going to assume that's what happened.
I mean, I get it. I don't like backtracking either, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, horror games are notorious for backtracking, yeah. But yeah, Nier is fantastic. I love that game. I still stand by it. It has my favorite ending of any game that I can think of.
Which one? Q? Z? Which ending?
I don't know what ending it is.
No, you suck.
It might be E.
No.
Or C. I don't freaking know. But it had my favorite. The true ending to the game was like my favorite ending.
14th playthrough or whatever?
Yeah. My favorite ending of probably any game. I love the gameplay. I love the characters. I loved everything about it. It was so good. And I'm trying to get the original Nier, like the first Nier. But that game's kind of shot up in price too. So
yeah, nobody knew about it until Automata came out, though.
Right. Another huge one for me is Cuphead. Need to play through Cuphead. It seems like Contra with a lot of boss battles, things like that.
Yeah.
Lots of people complaining that it's hard. I still stand by. I think it's a lot of people that just don't play those style games, and they're getting the game, and they're like, wow, this is super difficult. And it's like, yeah, games like this always are that difficult.
That's part of it, yeah.
That's how they are. Like, patience in side-scrolling games is very important.
That's why I'm not good at them.
Right. If you don't have the patience to kind of take your time and look at their moves
Mega Man,
and
it doesn't work for me.
Kind of quote-unquote get into the zone where you're just dodging things like off instinct really well, like you can do in things like Resogun or, Nex Machina, et cetera, you're probably, and it's your first time doing something like that, like people playing it because it looks cute. And it
looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks cute. It's got great music. They're like, oh, it's like a cartoon. And they're like, why is this cartoon kicking my ass?
Beating the shit
so
out of me.
I'm going to play. Maybe I'll eat my words. Maybe I'll be like, man, this game is really hard. But just from what I've seen and from what I've heard people who actually play games like this, like it is as hard as normal ones are.
It looks like your style of game, too. So
yeah, no, I'm sure I will, at worst, love that game.
Fair enough.
But there's so many good games this year, and I want to do this as a topic in the next coming weeks, so I don't want to go into it too much. This year is insane, and I want to talk about.
Very good year.
I want to talk about comparing it. We did what was the best year for gaming, and we narrowed it down to 2 years.
Yeah.
I want to throw this year in, and
it's been pretty good so far.
And recompare because it's been insane.
It's had a couple good hits.
Just a few industry changers, whatever.
A few of the best games ever,
Yeah, and like the disappointment list is real short. Anyway, anything else that you can think of? Anything in the coming?
I know a big one coming up that I'm not getting on release is Mario.
Oh, baby!
Because it's the same day as Wolfenstein 2 that I've been looking forward to since they showed that trailer.
Which is fair. I mean, Wolfenstein 2 could be I've heard it's really good.
And odds are I can get through Wolfenstein in a couple of days and get to Mario a week or two later.
Right. And also Mario is one of those games that, the ending of Mario. He saves the day. He saves Bowser.
Everyone.
It's not about that.
The hat becomes his friend. And
it's not about that. It's about the challenge of finding the moons and the experience of finding all the secrets and stuff like that. You don't actually need to stay quiet on Mario's story. I think I can predict it.
We know where it's going. We know what's going to happen.
Mario, I think, is going to be a huge contender for me as well.
Probably
very
for
interested.
A lot of people.
Very interested in that. People talking about Mario and Zelda splitting the
cannibalizing
vote,
each other.
and letting something like Horizon
Slips through.
I wish Nier, but like something like that kind of slip through. So
I'm
that'd
okay
be cool.
with that. I did like Horizon. It'd be on my list. I can almost guarantee you.
First game you platinumed. Only game you platinumed.
My only platinum still, yeah.
How did you not platinum Infamous?
I think there were some side... Because you have to go through it twice. You have to do all good stuff.
Oh, you
all
didn't
bad
go
stuff.
through
I
it
didn't
twice.
go through it twice.
Oh.
I just killed everyone. It was more fun that way.
You know who platinumed Infamous? Justin.
Yeah, is he still alive?
He is. He was.
I heard from the other day.
Yeah, he platinumed Infamous, which is crazy because.
Is that the only PS4 game he's played?
I guess so, and maybe Rocket League. Justin, of course, never will be on this show.
He's not allowed.
On the podcast, at least. We'll see about streams, because that might happen.
That may have to change.
That might happen real soon.
Break one of Kevin's earliest rules for the channel.
I said the podcast.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. And if I didn't, I'm changing it now. What other game have I not played? I know that there's some small ones. There was like This Lost, I think it's called This Lost Phone, which is a game that like quote unquote transforms your phone into somebody else's phone, and it's like a mystery.
Oh,
and you're going through and kind of figuring out
whose phone it is.
Yeah, whose phone it is, the contacts, things like that. Lawbreakers is another game that I really enjoyed. I played the betas and stuff, but I haven't actually played the full game, and I hope they do something because apparently there's not a lot of people playing that full game. But I wish I kind of jumped in when it came out. It came out the same day as like Crash Bandicoot or something. So that's not going to happen. Yeah. That and Battleborn both didn't make great decisions with their releases.
Yeah, I have a friend who's still so bitter at Overwatch for killing Battleborn, he refuses to play it.
Overwatch?
Yeah. He's still
Is
bitter.
it me?
No, someone else I know has the same feeling. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've played Overwatch, but...
No, he's never even played. He refuses to
No, I played Overwatch, but yeah, I like Battleborn way more, and I'm upset. Though they got their last patch, so that game is like officially ending now. It's closing down, and I do want to hop back into it just kind of as a farewell to it.
That was fast.
Yeah. What else is there? I know one for you, maybe. I don't know. I thought so.
What?
Xenoblade?
It's not out yet.
I know, but we're talking about Mario and stuff.
Probably. I'll probably get it when it comes out.
Just check it out. You're not like...
I've been staying kind of quiet, kind of dark on that game.
I think they've been staying kind of dark on that.
I'm gonna
like,
get it
even if you
regardless.
think about Fire Emblem Heroes, they didn't really show that much of that game before.
Heroes or Warriors?
Or Warriors, sorry. Is Heroes the phone game?
Heroes is the phone game.
Okay, at least it was a game.
It's a thing.
Yeah, like Warriors, they didn't even show that much of that game beforehand. So
I probably should try that game. I just don't care for Warriors games. So.
There's just trying to think of other big releases. There's Battlefront.
I need to play more Destiny 2, but I don't think it's winning Game of the Year. Battlefront.
So many good games.
Battlefront's not getting Game of the Year.
Call of Duty, World War II.
The first Call of Duty I've looked forward to in a while. I'm looking forward to trying out this Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna give it a day or two, make sure it works.
Hidden Agenda, we're gonna be playing soon. We'll see how that goes.
Looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
The Inpatient, which is the Until Dawn prequel VR game, I'm interested in.
Oh yeah.
Doom
VFR.
Skyrim VR,
Skyrim
all
VR.
these little one, I
wouldn't call
ones
Skyrim
like
little.
that. Yeah, but I mean, Skyrim doesn't fit into my personal definition of what I could put as Game of the Year because I don't do remakes. There's definitely at least one or two going backwards that I'm sure I missed in like January. Like there's things like Pyre, which I wouldn't mind jumping into.
I have Pyre because I got it on sale and I still need to try it.
Yeah, like there's stuff like that, but I've played a lot of the games that I've wanted to this year, whether it be from borrowing it or otherwise. Even games that I didn't think like Fortnite and Friday the 13th, and there's like a bunch of games that I just didn't think that I would play.
Oh yeah, Friday's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. But
yeah, so all those games, and for Craig, Nier, because he's got to finish that game like a big boy.
Not if he lets me have it.
Oh yeah, never mind. Just give it to Kellen; he'll enjoy it more.
It seems more like my style of game than his.
Did you play Bayonetta?
I played a lot of the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Bayonetta team.
Yeah.
But it's Bayonetta mixed with Galaga, I guess, is the best way to put it. Yeah. It's got that bullet hell aspect of it because she also has a gun. And the bad guys also have bullets, but the bullets are all breakable by her swords and guns. So it kind of becomes this weird, like sometimes the camera will pan up and it'll become like a top-down like shoot 'em up style game, like twin stick shooter, and then the camera will go behind it, and it'll be like a ship, like Galaga type thing, and then she'll land, and it'll be like Bayonetta, like cross, just
Doing
slashing
her stuff,
away,
yeah.
doing her like Warriors style fighting. So it's just really good, and the story's so fantastic. I love that game. Next up, real quick, what are some good spooky games to play for Halloween? Tomorrow, when this releases, will be Halloween. So what are some good spookies? I put some out here. I don't know if that game's spooky yet. I put some out here. I think it's a crime thriller, but it's about a killer. So
yeah, good enough.
So what are some spooky? You're not huge into spooky games,
Not my
but you're
favorite.
not against them.
No, I'm not like Nick.
You're
I'm
not.
scared of things.
You're not Nick, but you're not me.
I don't go looking for it. My favorite atmospheric game, as I would call it, would still be BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
The first BioShock.
I agree.
I love that game. It sets the mood very well, especially if you play it like at night or whenever.
Yeah, like if you play that with headphones at night, that is absolutely a horror game.
Correct.
For me, I love the PlayStation 2. I put a bunch out here. I love the PlayStation 2
really?
because it has, I think, the healthiest amount of horror games and horror experimentation that worked. There's a lot of Japanese developers that had enough graphical power to convey enough realism. Plus, they were doing like the crazy Japanese horror stuff, which is always nice. And they kind of started falling off for the PS3, and then the PlayStation 4 was kind of dominated. There's a couple good ones, but it was kind of dominated by this either A, jump scare horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's, which blew up and started all that.
Yeah, that game was whatever.
Yeah, I hate that game. And the horror like Outlast, where you're just being chased by something. There's no combat at all, which isn't bad, but
Not always a bad thing. But
let's be honest, they don't program combat because that takes skill. They're like, oh, you get grabbed, you're dead. Let's reload. And that's why Resident Evil 7 is one of my recommendations, because it does that, but it has the combat. Like, you can actually fend off the enemies, and, So
enough bullets.
My favorite are survival horror. Basically, games where bullets matter, health matters, you need to be careful, or you could mess up, basically. I like those because they build tension in a different way, where you don't want to die because you don't want to lose the progress. And that's actually the tension of the game. And whether or not it's frustrating or not, which if it is, then you're not going to enjoy those style games.
Yeah, it is to some people.
But I like that I don't want to die, because if I die, I'm going to lose 30 minutes of progress and have to redo all of it. And that's where the tension comes from, messing up and everything. So some that I just want to throw out that I really like. Haunting Ground, fantastic. Spiritual successor to the Clock Tower series. I've talked about it before on the show, so I'm not going to go crazy. But you have a panic meter. Whenever you encounter the enemy or something spooky, your screen starts messing up. It starts like flashing and goes black and white and fading, and it becomes hard to run and navigate away from the enemy. If you get attacked while you're panicking, you die. And there's things that you can do to like lower your panic by hiding and stuff. And this one adds a doggy that can attack the enemy for you and fetch items and things like that. Though that game's pretty expensive. So a lighter version of that, because that one's huge and expansive, and it's like a giant mansion, is Clock Tower 3, which is the game kind of before it, not lore-wise. You can play them in any order. It doesn't matter. They don't connect, really. Which has all the same stuff. It's a lot cheaper of a game, but it's way more confined. And that one's a time-traveling story that's really interesting. It kind of starts off with World War II, and you go back from there, back through time. Yeah, that one's really, really cool. Obviously, I want to throw out PT if you have it. But if you have it, you've probably already played it. I'll fight you. In that vein, I want to throw out the Silent Hill series, particularly the original 4 and Shattered Memories are all really good.
Great movies, too.
The first movie's good. The first movie's good.
We watched them last week.
We did. I like the first one.
The first one's good.
The second one's enjoyable if you like the games.
What about the third one on YouTube?
Don't watch that. And then if you want something a little more actiony, there's The Suffering, which is a fairly cheap game that you can pick up that's more of an action shooter but has a cool Infamous style good or bad system, morality system, where you could kill the person or you could help the person, and there's a bunch of endings depending on what you do. And then just to throw out some modern things, because obviously I'm going pretty far back on this PlayStation 2 stuff, Amnesia's not bad. The PC version's better, but Amnesia's not a bad choice, and it's free right now for Plus, so
it is.
That's a good one. Until Dawn is phenomenal.
That's a great game. I love that game.
Like that game is surprisingly really, really good, and I think it has enough camp and horror to be
it's
fun.
definitely campy.
Yeah, it's like a fun time. Also, Nick makes an appearance in the game, so that's cool.
It's just like you. He cut his hair the next day just to know.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, Resident Evil 7. If you have VR, Until Dawn is a great choice. There's not too many great VR horror games. I think a lot of them
Not
are
yet.
very
I think
gimmicky.
yeah.
But I think Until Dawn, while gimmicky, has like the jump scares and stuff that I don't like. I think the gameplay of it's really good, and I think a lot of the other ones are bad gameplay with the gimmick, so that doesn't work very well. Is there any other huge? White Day came out to PS4.
Oh, did you ever get that?
I did. I
Oh.
did. I have not played it yet because I'm
That's
waiting.
why.
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to come over and play it because I promised I'd play it with them, so I haven't loaded it up yet. But yeah, there's plenty of choices right there. And then if you like just the jump scare stuff, you can basically search any other horror game. Layers of Fear, like all the ones that just come out and you've never heard of. It's because they're first person. You look around the house and things jump out at you.
Things just scare you.
Yeah. So if you're into that,
You left
there
out
you
the
go.
best one though.
Which is
Night Trap.
okay. Yeah, play Night Trap. That game's fun.
The game's awesome.
The game is fun. I guess it's a horror game.
It's got vampires.
That's true. Vampires are very horror based.
I guess.
There was a game called Vampire that was supposed to come out. I don't think it's coming out this year.
I doubt it.
It's supposed to be like a big game. Nothing happened. Let's move into the releases and then get out of here.
Okay.
So there's a couple big releases, and I left some of them off the list because they're going to get squashed by other things.
Buy these things. Yeah.
But Halloween, we have Bubsy. Speaking of horror games,
Good
we
God.
got Bubsy, The Woolies Strike Back, PC and
When should we
PS4.
release Bubsy? How about 3 days after Mario?
That seems like a horrible idea. Let's do it.
God.
Summon Night 6 for the PlayStation 4 and Vita. I don't know what that is, but I saw Vita, so I put it on the list.
Terrible.
Azure Striker Gunvolt for the Switch, which is a game I actually really liked on the 3DS, but I felt that the screen and the controls didn't really work that well, and my problems have been solved. So
I'm putting on the Switch.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Switch version. I'm going to skip this one. Next, on November 3rd, is Call of Duty World War II.
You saved this for last over Call of
And
Duty.
then the most important game
I'm not going to argue this.
that is coming out October 31st, Monopoly for the Switch, which is a game we both very much like.
Oh, God, yes.
Monopoly. And hopefully the Switch version is solid. Hopefully it doesn't have too much downtime, like you have to watch all the pieces move constantly.
Watch
And
them roll
you
the
can get
dice.
through the game fairly quickly. And if you can, we're going to be playing that. It's going to be a good time.
Correct.
As far as I know from that game, the way it works is you put it on the table face up, like
like
in
a
the middle
tabletop.
of the table, and it's the board, and you use the Joy-Cons to like roll. That's how I think it works.
That's cool.
I don't know.
HD Rumble.
The fact that we haven't heard anything about this game is
Not
suspicious.
not a good
The
sign.
fact that I didn't know it was coming out and it's a game I want is not good news.
Not a good sign.
But Monopoly Switch, there you go. That's coming out, and you'll hear first about how good it is. It's probably not good, but I'm actually just gonna look up reviews, and if it's terrible, I'm not gonna get
We're
it.
not
But
skim over.
as long as it is okay, I will purchase this game.
That's all I need is for you to purchase it. I don't need it. So.
It's also a really good, like, oh, we have 40 minutes and we're in the airport or whatever it is. You pop out the Switch, play some Monopoly.
Play
That's
some
it.
Monopoly.
I mean, it kind of fills the same.
Find 3 random people play Monopoly, you know.
It kind of fills the same thing as like Puyo Puyo Tetris. I feel like,
But I love that game.
but I didn't get it on Switch. I got it on PS4.
Wow.
So this is kind of like my Puyo Puyo Tetris.
That's your own fault.
Well, I bought it on PS4 because there's licensing problems with the PlayStation 4 version, and they're not allowed to put it on the store digitally. So I bought it physically because I think one day it might be worth something.
Because it'll go away.
Because it's literally not going to exist one day. So another fun fact about the game, I tried to share play it, which is my favorite PS4 feature,
And?
and it's blocked because it's done by Sega, who also owns Persona 5, who also blocked all of Persona 5. So yeah, you can't share play the game, which is unfortunate because you also can't buy the game digitally. So if it's like 10 at night and you're playing a game and you're like, ooh, why don't we play Tetris? That's a fun game to play. Okay. And we try to hop into the game and the share play is blocked. And I'm like, oh, I guess we can't play together. And then they go, well, I'll just buy it. No, you won't, because it's not on the store.
Not
So that was a little
You're going to have to
frustrating.
go somewhere to buy it.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating. But anyway, thank you for being here. Kellen,
Yep.
it's good to see you back. We're going to have an episode with you and Craig soon.
I never get to be on with Craig.
I know.
I don't know why.
It's going to be happening. It might be next week.
I don't think him and Nick are getting along anymore. So. After the whole the cheesecake incident.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Mario incident.
No. I don't care about Mario.
See, I don't think they're getting along. That might have been the start of it. Was the Mario incident? Nick not buying Mario. Craig very upset.
Craig
very upset about that. Then Nick eats Craig's crust off of his cheesecake. He's not too happy about that.
I don't think they're friends anymore.
The war ensues. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll speak with you next time.